based on standings, if we go 3-0, things are great. If we go 0-3, we shoot to the bottom of the standings, right? We're bottom half instantly. And the kind of cloud that hangs over you when you're in the bottom of the standings does not feel good. You're not going to have a good week of practice after you go 0-3, trust me. So yeah, it's a very important week for us.
All right, well, you hear it straight from Biofrost. They're feeling the pressure then going into this third day of games on Super Week because like he said, you go 0-3 and it can in so many ways kind of taint the atmosphere of the team. Currently on a 4-game losing streak across 2 weekends, but obviously 2 in a row here, Raz, on Super Week.
I would respond as saying you would probably have the most productive week of practice if you're coming in 0-3 because you're going to have the hard conversations, right?
Okay, so you think it's going to catalyze some discussions?
I think so. Usually after things get stressful, someone's going to have the conversation. So yeah, it has not been good. And even the opponents they're facing, you can understand, like going up against Cloud9 and Team Liquid, those are difficult. The loss versus Golden Guardians, and I would even say FlyQuest with the current slump is the one that's worrying. Their future games are something that they need to kind of, I know going up against 100 Thieves is going to be the troubling one for today, and we're going to be talking about it. But it's just that the easier games on the schedule, quote unquote, are the ones they're still losing.
So we love to talk about strength of schedule, right? Especially when it becomes a question of like motivation or how hard is the team maybe taking losses. What's been your experience, Parth, with teams as they streak, winning momentum or losing momentum, and how a team can ultimately determine, you know, is everything on fire? You know, like should we be panicking about the losses we're taking, or how do you separate, you know, the reason for the loss from the loss itself and how to move forward?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on what the expectations were going into this week versus how it panned out. If you thought everything was great and then suddenly it becomes a disaster, that conversation is different than if it was like slowly building up, you know, you're not going to do well, and then obviously the results match up with like how practice was going. I think in the second case, if you start the next week, you always have like a conversation about, guys, what's going wrong? You kind of just let it out, you air it out. Every team has like a different way of doing it, but I do agree with Raz. I think it's, despite what Vincent said, it's going to be hard. It's not the best thing to have to do, but it does make things more productive.
And if we want to look at maybe some of the struggles that Dignitas have had compared to the games they won to the games they lost, I think a lot of it does come down to how much impact River is able to have with their early lanes. When they were winning, it was because their bot lane of Bio and Neo were actually had really good wave management, and they set up around that well. So Blue would have really good roam timing mid, he'd shove the wave in, he'd join up with River, they'd cover the bot side, they'd get a pushing bot lane ahead. And that's actually how they ended up beating 100 Thieves in lock-in when a lot of people didn't believe that they could. And so I think now it's not that like River can't play anything but Jarvan. It's not that Dignitas' bot lane can't play anything but Caitlyn Lux. But now that that's not working with these compositions, they need to find something else where they can still have that same kind of natural communication that they did with those comps.
They need to find something else, and they're hoping they can find it here in this game. It's Dignitas on one side trying to salvage their Super Week, while 100 Thieves looking to add another win to the win column and keep themselves in contention for the top of the table. Back over to Phreak and Jatt one more time for the call.
Thank you very much, Dash. Fat back in action. I gotta say, I'm glad we're twinsies. You know, I'm glad we get to match here today. It's nice to be reunited. It's nice to be cast with you as well. It's been, I think, quite a long time.
Yeah, we did cast lock-in games, at least.
We did.
It's been like a month.
Yeah, that's too long for me. I would like to cast with you more than once a month.
All right, let's
do it. Yeah. Now, I find this game very interesting. So I'm gonna throw a bunch of random stats out because I think they're all very compelling. First of all, this is a rematch of the lock-in quarterfinals where Dignitas 2-0 100 Thieves.
True.
When that happened, Dig were 1-3, 100 Thieves were 3-1. Once again, we have mirrored records, and Dignitas are the underdog. So that's kind of fun. What's also interesting is looking at River overall. On not Jarvan, he is 1-10. He's undefeated on Jarvan. He is 1-10.
That's including lock-in.
Yeah, including lock-in, yes, including Glenn's games he played, everything else. What's interesting, though, is looking at him in the last year. You look at his champions and what he played, what he won on. He was 6-1 on Nidalee, 7-1 on Diana, and 8-1 on Olaf. Yeah. They're like, I farm really hard, it's about me, I'm the cool guy, I fight people. Like, that worked for him on PSG Talon. Like, that worked for him last time around. And yet here, it's like, well, on Hecarim, he just kind of does nothing. On Udyr, he just kind of does nothing, right? On the Lee Sin, he just kind of does nothing, which, like, those are things that worked for him before.
You say that, but I will also say that when I watch River play Hecarim, I think he's generally playing it correct. He's gotten pretty good efficient CS advantages on that pick, but then it hasn't translated into anything. I think where if you're going to be pointing fingers for Dignitas, I really want to see the relationship between River and FakeGod, because this week, FakeGod has had a really rough time. He got solo killed twice as Jayce against Summit's Gnar, and then he also got solo killed yesterday as Gnar against Whippo's Camille, and then died 3 more times to Trundle Gank. So he was 0-4-0 at certain points in that game. Ssumday has also been a player who I feel like has had a resurgence this year, because I kind of feel like for Dignitas to keep the ship afloat, they need to give River time to run the map. And they just have not been granting him that time when he's not on Jarvan.
Well, maybe Poppy, but no, it is going to be back on Hecarim. As you mentioned, you liked what he did with the champ. Well, one game played, sadly, was a loss, but yeah, he is a farm-focused champion. Get the 6, go gank a lane. Hope nothing's on fire before that point, and then, you know, have more stats, right? You just kind of take the scraps from sort of half a mythic onwards, and you tend to look pretty good. Qmax is all that really matters, so you really do spike very early. You know, at 9 is kind of like maximum Hecarim power, it feels like. Up against Zhao, they hovered a couple different options, but gonna go for early gank pressure here. Certainly team fight's okay. You have the immunity, so you actually hold on, you know, reasonably well as a frontliner. But these certainly have team fight starting. FB as Aphelios, of course, very, very good. Pretty standard comp.
Yeah, I do think it is a little tricky running Nautilus into Tahm Kench. If you try and fight past Tahm Kench, it does get very difficult, but it will also give Hunter Thieves more reliable initiation in the mid and late game. It's been a very strange split. Maybe actually strange year for Hunter Thieves, because I feel like they have been very good, but they've had these really underwhelming feeling losses, right? Speaking of, the 2-0 against Dignitas and Lock-In. Very disappointing when the majority of people thought Hunter Thieves was going to be winning Lock-In. And then also, like personally coming into this week, I looked at them as a 5-1 team, or 4-2 team, and their 2 losses were really close games where they just lost a team fight down the stretch. But they had their first kind of big loss against Cloud9, where Cloud9 ran the map on them, and now they're sitting at 5-3, wondering, like, hey, they need to defend this LCS championship by putting out statement games, and there's just not that much hype around this team because I think they've had these close losses and have not proven that they are good when the opportunity presents itself.
I agree with you. I mean, that was my read as well, right? Hunter Thieves, like, okay, they're defaulting into a top 2 team, right? Like, they're the ones winning the title, the same roster, like, they should look really good. So, you know, can a team rise to the level? Of course, but it seems like a couple of teams have actually passed them, right? They're, I believe, alone in third here, being 5-3. 2 teams 7-2 above them, Team Liquid and Cloud9. And those, you know, resoundingly look like better teams. The question is, does anyone else also keep up? And that certainly is a maybe. Corki going to be locked in for Abbedagge, so pretty standard. Of course, magic damage to the Corki, but double marksman in the back line. Plenty of front line here. They're going to leave Ssumday with the counter pick, and we'll see what the spicy top lane matchup is, because he's been getting the better of FakeGod, you know, looking at the season's games.
Very standard draft coming through so far. The Graves, another standard pick. Will it then get matched the same way we've been seeing Graves get matched? Do we see another Ssumday Aurelia? Do we see a Ssumday Camille? Not sure. But nothing crazy happening in this draft. A lot of this game is going to be coming down to execution in game.
Both players 3-1 on their respective mid laners here, which, to be fair for Dignitas, is a big upgrade since overall record hasn't been quite as solid. Ooh, are we gonna get a Jayce in the top lane? All right. Now, we saw Summit completely slaughter this lane up against Kumo earlier today. Ssumday versus FakeGod. I want to see if you can get remotely similar interaction here, because he got counterpicked.
And it's what Hunter Thieves wanted to do this entire draft phase. I don't think there was any world where they weren't going to try and give Ssumday a counterpick against FakeGod based off of the way FakeGod has been struggling so far this week. So I think things go to plan for them. And I'm interested to see if Hunter Thieves actually plays towards Ssumday, or if they try and let him kind of isolate his way to an advantage. The difficult thing with Jayce here is Hecarim is actually very good against Jayce in terms of ganking him. So if they want Ssumday to play aggressive, I think Closer is going to have to hover up top a lot.
Well, last time he played Jayce, deathless, 4-0-7, the fastest win of the Spring Split for Hunter Thieves so far. 26-48 against Golden Guardians, who we know to also be actually a pretty solid team. So had his way with LeTigress in that game, and try to have his way with FakeGod here as well. We'll see how long he can remain deathless. It would be nice for Dignitas to turn around the slump. They had a 3-1 start. And you look back at the games and it's like, oh, well, you beat TSM, you beat CLG, Immortals hadn't gotten together yet. Then you're like, was that just lucky, right? Was that just you hit the right teams at the right time and it's all downhill from here? Or can you turn it back around? Heard from Biofrost said, yeah, if you get a 0-3 week, practice isn't good the week after. Like, you're so down about the results. So would love to see Dignitas bounce back, you know, doubt the haters, get back in there. Against 100 Thieves, it would be a statement victory like it was at the end of lock-in. Here we go on to the Rift. Dignitas 3-5. 100 Thieves 5-3. Do they fall to a giant tie for 3rd through 6th? Or do they rise and keep 1 game behind first? Let's see as we get onto the Rift here. River, in his namesake, doesn't spot anyone just yet. Okay, should see huhi. Oh, just in case. I mean, if he gets hooked there, it might just be a death, so I understand it. And Ghost cooldown is like 3 minutes and change.
It's pretty quick, yeah.
So it's almost always gonna be back up by the time it matters anyway. We'll track it and see if there is like a small play there, but it's very like low damage EV.
I don't even know if 100 Thieves spotted the Ghost.
I don't think so.
If they did, it might cause a tweak in the jungle pathing. So what I would see if 100 Thieves noticed the Ghost was gone, look at the ward that they were able to place on the blue buff right here. And if they, I want to make the minimap bigger. So basically, Hecarim wants to full clear most of the time, right? So he's going to kill these 3 camps, and then he's going to roll up towards here. Xin is clearing these 3 camps. If he knows he doesn't have Ghost, Xin can run down and catch Hecarim at those wolves. If he knows he's ghostless, that's a fight where Jayce can get shoved, come down, and they can actually kill the Hecarim here. That would be like, if they saw it, that could be a plan they try to do.
It's like the exact play we saw out of the Viego in the previous game, right?
Yeah.
Hecarim he wants to start here because he wants AoE camps, right? His best time is well, I've got Q, so let me kill Raptors, let me kill Krugs, things like that. But that takes longer, right? Krugs is a very, very slow camp to kill by design, which gives you time to 3 camp and then cross map and then meet, you know, deep in the opposing side. So yeah, we'll see if Closer managed to show up for that one. We've got a bot lane scrap right now, not too bad on either side.
Yeah, it actually all kind of lines up for 100 Thieves with the way they want to play this game. If they 3 camp, dual lane invade, you can see they also just pinged the blue buff right now saying Hecarim did not start here. Let's look to do something. Abbedagge also getting push in mid lane. So it's going to be very hard for River to get a full clear if 100 Thieves plays this aggressively.
Blue looks like he's out of potions entirely. Chugs through all that one. Abbedagge, I believe, will end up being slightly ahead in health overall when they meet next. River finally done now with his 3rd camp. And you can see, yeah, if Zhao wanted to meet at Wolves, he could do so. You can see he's already, you know, finished Raptors and onto red instead, or sorry, skip Raptors onto red instead.
I will say that top lane state looks like Graves has shoved, so they can't actually get a good collapse in, and they're just going to handshake. I would have liked to see Closer go for something there, but they opt not to.
Alrighty, end of the day, not going to be much. We just get the camp to go down, and I mean, and Hecarim is honestly happy to say, hey, if we just both totally full clear, and again, information should be had that Xin Zhao's topside, this should be pretty knowable. We'll see if anything happens to him, because River is low on mana. He can smite if he needs to, and that'll give him a big surge of health and mana to be like pretty much unfightable. Ghost is indeed down, and now they know for sure, right? He didn't get spotted. Maybe the Gromp did, but they know for sure Closer's here. He's on a ward now as well.
Closer's actually down a camp now.
Yeah.
River is still ghostless though, so it matters.
This. He's gonna bring FakeGod down, but Ssumday's here. Do they even have mid priority to taking this fight? Is it gonna be enough? Ssumday lands a shock blast. FakeGod can't get it to happen. First blood picked up. What was that fight?
That's not what they drew up.
Flash the shock blast or something, man. Why even go for this?
It really feels like communication clogged decision making to me. There's this fight down at River over Crab. I think FakeGod is probably thinking about how he can get to the fight with Closer. Ssumday just jumps him, and it turns into a huge disaster. Now, River is getting pushed off blue. He doesn't even have smite. Closer doesn't know that, though. FakeGod's back.
Yeah. All right. Actually, you can, because you can look at the scoreboard and know he's on 3 charges of smite. You can always know that, man. Like any jungler, just press tab, like, oh, he's no smite. Closer could have gone for that. The only problem is, does mid and top collapse? FakeGod now in danger. Does have flash. Flash follow into the slow. Shock blast. But the red buff isn't enough. No. Time warp tonic potion. They're going to get revenge. He's not even in this game, but River is back on it with double buffs.
Oh, the turntables. He gets what he wants at the end of the day. I got to say, when all is said and done, what? River's got advantage. His ghost came back. He was able to use it.
This game is so weird.
So, weirdly enough, in the River fight, sorry, in the Scuttle Crab fight,
Yeah.
River did have a camp advantage because of the way Closer had moved. And now Blue!
Abbedagge! This game makes no sense! What are you doing? It's a comedy of errors. Abbedagge just says, it's a Viktor. Guess I'm dead. Thanks for the gold. What is going on?
I don't know, man.
All right,
That was wild.
this one's a real fight, though. This one, FBI's playing it correctly. Good shield by Biofrost. Mechanically, pretty solid down there.
What happened to Corki?
He
I haven't seen a solo death like that this year.
yeah.
Like, obviously he lost some trades, but like, that was a Viktor walk and press. Both flashes just there. I am very
QE auto.
perplexed by that Abbedagge death.
I don't know.
So,
First Elan's here.
I mean, it's a big wave, so Abbedagge doesn't want to give it up, but he just chunks him a little bit. Yeah, he's got to leave.
yeah. So, yeah, you're out. And, you know, didn't have TP, wanted to play for the wave. This was actually really good chompers. Can't quite get him into them, but still some good damage. Huhi, you know, manaless, does have flash, and FBI, you can't always go through an Aphelios, so
Yeah.
able to stay alive. Huhi, though, very, very low.
Yeah, really just trying to give them push out in this wave. Ssumday still having control of this top lane, but we have a very wild start. And Blue in particular, I think, would be set up to possibly carry this game. Can push him out again, knows the TP is down, right? So he has... There's a biscuit on Abbedagge, but I actually feel like he's going to be able to pressure that lane pretty well.
Good sidestep.
It's like a tale of two lanes. Mid lane is going heavily for Dig. Top lane still going heavily for 100 Thieves.
You see the CS will come close to equal. The very thankful thing is Vamp Sensor plus the Path Armor here is like a godsend here for FakeGod, but he misses, I think, every melee there, gets a couple of casters, still 4 CS down, and of course infinite pressure for Ssumday, who's already on his tier stack, so gonna feel good off that first blood, right? I mean, this is the dream power spike. First time for Jayce is Serrated Dirk, which is extremely efficient, plus the tiers you're stacking for later on as well. You love seeing that, and he's just happy to lane this for a while.
This is big for Dig. They have a huge
flash.
advantage in mid.
Yeah, Freda getting pushed around. Here we go. Ssumday wants to dive. Level 6 on. Lands a bunch of it. Be careful. Trades it, but that's going to be worth it. The wave will be denied under the tower.
I actually think that that's arguably better for FakeGod based on the state of the game, right? He loses maybe 3 CS. The wave crashes again at mid. He actually gets enough gold that he can build up a little bit of armor and not be bullied hard by Jayce, and then walk back. So this is... We talked earlier in the day about 100 Thieves wanting to kind of assert themselves as a top team.
Yep.
Really not the start.
No.
But it's also, I will say, like, game 15 of 15 in Super Week. It is the 3rd game of the weekend. Things are honestly feeling really off to me in this game. I've seen a lot of stuff. There was the Abbedagge death. I mean, I want to watch this fight one more time. So Ssumday lands EQ.
FakeGod gets 6.
Yeah.
He's out of mana, so
But he's out of mana. Yeah, exactly. And then we... Okay.
Oh, he's dead.
He's got flash.
Oh, okay, good flash. But I think, can he chase us? I mean, he's got chases, right? Whoop. Yep. Good job, good job, good job. Well done. Mid lane is a kingdom right now. Blue is slaughtering Abbedagge, gets a little help from River. Well done. And I'm glad to see River kind of like back on. The first kind of one felt weird, but I mean, every single gank since then has looked really, really good. Shows up top lane, but he's got his ghost back up. Shows up mid lane, it's the same thing here. Now Biofrost in danger. When's his shield come up? And he's going to be able to...
He might be able to kill him.
I think it's enough for damage. It is! Woo! FBI! Beautiful timing. Well played around the shield. Thank you for the kill, my friend.
Yeah, that was really sweet by FBI. Everything about that. As you mentioned, he lands the ultimate, and that gives you a window of time when you can follow up the long-range auto. So he waits for Biofrost's shield to wear out, ends up getting the execution, and even though there's been a big mid gap this game, because they roamed up early, they might actually get the Rift Herald. This is how they get their game back on track. They get the Rift Herald, then they can play through Ssumday and help him accelerate plates, because with the way it was going in mid, things were actually looking pretty grim.
Well, Herald goes down. You can see the gold difference, only 280. So a single Herald charge, that's gonna earn you the gold back. 100 Thieves, if you play out the scoreboard, are actually up in gold based on what you're going to see happen over time. Abbedagge should be reasonably able to clear this one away. I don't think he's under that much threat. Biofrost can't take the tower first, which with huhi coming in, maybe even could have tried to bait it. But reinforcements are on the way. This is about to be a pretty spicy fight, 2 versus 4, and they don't have the Valor yet. Neo burns down, goes in too early. Turns out you still have to dodge bullets, Neo. You're in the first act of the movie.
Big play by huhi to get the aggression on Neo. In a 4v2, getting a 1-for-0 as the Chu and burning 2 summoner spells. Big. Now they're just going to try a 2v2. You know what? This one might work.
Knockback, huhi.
This is
nice anchor, good slow. Has to force the ulti. This will guarantee the kill. I know they wanted to hold the cooldowns, but they don't get to. Forces the cooldown out best as you could have had it. huhi, but a good kill into the Dignitas duo. Blue buff steal cross map. Closer once more. Sees a Gromp as well. So we still have an action-packed game. We are going back and forth. Certainly, it's been a bit messy, Jatt, but it has been exciting.
So this is the last game of Super Week.
Yep.
Kobe had that superhero costume.
Yeah.
And this is a game to seeing which heroes can carry. That's really the way it's shaping up, because if we look at gold, the heroes on Dig are River and Blue. Can Hecarim and Viktor carry? Or, as you see, Ssumday sitting at 2-1, and then the 1-0 Aphelios, it's Jayce Aphelios versus Viktor Hecarim. The other supporting cast are still important in terms of their ability to set things up, but that's who is going to get played through this game.
And, you know, it's interesting because essentially you've got a lot of poke, right? You know, about half the time FBI is going to have really solid poke there. Obviously, Corki going to be, you know, part of that comp as well when he can get his items online. But, you know, Viktor and Hecarim, like, they're kind of divers. Like, Viktor can follow up the Hecarim stuff because if you're in forward, you're in range of the entire combo and you're one-shotting somebody. So, you know, the tools that can stop the poke are the ones with gold. So then, you know, that's your push and pull, right? Because also Ssumday can just keep the map split up and not play for the Hecarim team fights.
I think a lot of times Viktor you would actually classify as this like long-range mage, but as you mentioned, in the Corki matchup, he actually has the range disadvantage, so then he's the one who has to go in.
In that one,
So, I mean, Turbo Chem Tank completed by River, Ghost up, ulti up soon. He's got a couple more camps to clear, and then I think he's back on the map, looking for people who are flashless. Currently, that's Abbedagge, and for about 5 more seconds, Ssumday. So I think they're just going to keep trying to hunt Corki.
Chem Tank, Ghost, ult soon.
Yep.
And of course, cooldown boots feel good. Means you get shorter cooldowns on the summoner spells. Feels pretty good as well. No rune setup for item haste, so, you know, has the full cooldown on Turbo Chem Tank. Not that there's anything wrong with his build, just kind of noting out that, you know, it's not a domination secondary for the Ingenious Hunter. Zap's not going to land, but okay. Biofrost deals some damage to FBI, who doesn't have innate sustain, so indeed takes that damage for real on the chin, who he getting rid of some of the wards. They know it's a 2v3, but ultimately no dive.
Yeah, there was not enough burst damage that they could do, even though they had the item advantage on the AD carry, so full Gale Force completion versus Neo, who was still trying to finish up his call. Also, Viktor and Hecarim had just pushed out mid lane, so they could move into River and at least threaten a collapse, which pulled them off. If River can get this kill on a Ssumday, it would be huge. I think he's got a chance.
Got a plate in mid, though. You can see 15.
Control ward troll.
25 CS lead in mid, plus 2 plates. Looks pretty good. Nice knock-up. He shouldn't be able to pull aggro, but maybe almost finds the kill. Ooh.
They could have had that.
It was close, but I think he has it anyway. Summoner heals in. Flash is available, but slowed up, stunned up. Biofrost solo kills FBI through 2 summoners.
Tahm Kench, baby! I also think FBI could have used the flash a little bit earlier. A lot of mistakes coming in from 100 Thieves this game, but Dignitas is scrapping, trying to end that loss streak, and that's really what they needed here. But Closer's down here anyway.
Just in time.
Oh, they double sweep as well. Man, 100 Thieves is so out of sorts.
Yeah.
Like, how many 100 Thieves games we've seen Abbedagge with one really perplexing death. Second, he just got outlaned once he was behind. I don't blame him as much for the second one. But then, I've just not seen FBI die like that. Right?
Yeah.
Just not respecting this full vision, right? Tahm Kench W.
Gale Force it? Nope. He stops to auto the turret again.
No flash, no heal, no Gale Force. Right? He ends up using the heal now, but he could have, for instance, flashed up early, gotten out of range.
What
of
is
the
that
then he
flash
flashes
even?
late as the auto. It's just, it's weird. That's what I'm going to say. I've not seen FBI play like that in a while.
I mean, this entire game feels like this, right? Like, I've seen probably 7 uncharted mistakes across both teams so far in this game. We got another fight now in the bottom river, targeting him, but this is Blue just chunked Rocket, nearly lands the flash follow. Closer should have it. Woo! Oh, he does. He takes him down. Got to get away from the Chaos Storm, but finds that kill. The Jinx. You got to be kidding. But at least Graves lands it. Well done, FakeGod trades it back 1 for 1.
Still got him.
Yep.
But this means Ssumday gets to free push in the top lane because FakeGod was mid for that numbers advantage fight. So I think first turret of the game is likely going to go over to 100 Thieves. And the 1 for 1 should be in favor of 100 when all the gold is tallied up at the end.
240 right now, though.
Dive.
Yep, looking at it.
Summonerless Aphelios, but he clears the wave really quick.
And with no wave, they don't go for the play. So Biofrost, his ult actually might still be down because he used it for the offensive play a little bit ago. So I think that would have made it maybe a bit safer. Hecarim just goes in, takes the damage, who cares? We eat him out anyway, and you know we're going to be safe. But yeah, not the play here. So blue buff steal again. Ssumday this time around. It was closer before. Knocks that one down. Great, thank you. 33 CS lead in the top lane. And for now, mostly content to play it in his lane. Mostly content to fully FakeGod. Has yet to kill the tower, but we'll see him eventually. Huhi, good job on the anchor. Has to flash, and River decides not to go for the ulti.
Yeah, the Drake is up right now, so it looks like second Drake of the game is coming through for Dignitas. I think it's totally fine, actually, for 100 Thieves not to contest this one because they are playing the outrange game when we're thinking of the big picture. Jinx Rocket comes down to scout, maybe try to steal the Rift Herald, but they'll have a very fed Jayce. When he gets the Mana Immune Transform, and when Corki gets the Mana Immune Transform and Ludens, they're going to be a force in terms of objective setup, and the engage for Dignitas is not going to be very strong.
Package guarantees the slow. Blue is already flashless. He's got absolutely no way out. Well done, set up by Abbedagge, and finally gets one back for all the pain and suffering from the laning phase.
Huge when they also have the Rift Herald, so they're going to be able to give over at least one turret of solo go for FBI. They might consider going for a second and actually just jump out to a big gold lead.
I think it should be. I think it's possible here. We can tell who's coming around. It's just Tahm, Kench, and Hecarim. That feels playable, but you can see the posturing, yeah. It is still going to be a crash thing every single time. I believe you cannot one. Oh, he can! Just enough from the eye. 1387, just enough damage.
Clutch.
Well played, Bio.
Auto attack.
I mean, that is really clutch, right? I mean, the timing is tight, right? If it's too early, you're between autos. If it's too late, it's sometimes just out of range or already hit the crash. So, well done, Bio. I mean, he solo killed FBI. He denies the turret damage. Overall, I mean, great game from Biofrost.
He is playing very well, and River is also having a good game, but it's still not looking that good for Dig. I hate to say it, like they have spent a lot of time looking for plays on the bot lane specifically that have netted them nothing. And I think even though they did get the kill on Abbedagge and they got the solo kill on FBI, those are normally moves that can kind of break the game open for you. I think they haven't been able to convert the play after that. And now it's looking like 100 Thieves has the chance to just bring the game back and make it a little more stable.
At least Jinx has a CS lead, but you can see the itemization. It's pretty close between the AD carries. So, yeah, it does feel like 100 Thieves have a lot of what they want here. 1,500 the gold lead, 2 dragons either way. If Dignitas can find fights at the right times or just fight that little bit better, you know, they can be on the way to Infernal Soul, and, you know, that makes up for all the gold deficits in the world pretty much. Down goes the wave. Ssumday has knocked down that turret, of course. Part of that lead they've got. Just trading farm, though, with a 33 CS difference. Waiting to see what he can do aggressively on the map a bit later. Just going to be Neo collecting a wave, and 100 Thieves can move down toward the bottom side. Dragon's still a ways out. These wards will all time out before you actually play for that objective, but as we'll take control in the meantime, Biofrost just senses it. Triple knockup, rocket to land. FBI is low and gets shut down. Biofrost can do no wrong. 3 kills to be claimed. Whatever you're paying him, it's not enough.
Fish senses or something to blind W into that bush. As the TP comes down, there's so much confidence in that play. That's the type of move to get back in this game.
That is just incredible. I mean, really, really beautiful stuff. River's been doing awesome. Blue at his lane kingdom, and now Biofrost sets up the next one. Gold lead completely demolished. Ssumday can't even go in. Doesn't go for the play into Neo. 100 Thieves gold lead isn't doing work. Dignitas' 0 kill, well, 1 kill support is doing everything.
That is the funny thing about this game. So let's watch this one more time. So
okay, they do see him.
They see them go in. They never see them come out. They can surmise that they're going to be in that bush. Obviously, 100 Thieves has control in this, so they think they're being sneaky. They are not. The early kill comes down onto the biggest threat, which just gives the green light for everyone on Dig to run in. And they pull out another huge play. 3 kills for nothing.
double goes to River. I think, sadly, not a lot of this gold is going on to Jinx. Keep in mind,
Yeah.
it's an assist split 3 or 4 ways, so you're getting, you know, like 60, 70 gold on those 2 assists each. It's not a lot. He did get 1 of the kills, but, you know, imagine you get the triple kill on Jinx, and she's like, oh, yeah, here's a BF sword, right? Like, you know, that acceleration does matter. It's actually part of the reason I still defend Collector, even if, like, the mathematical 1v1, Collector is indeed worse in a lot of cases. Like, no doubt to that one. But
Yeah.
guaranteeing Jinx gets the 2 other kills, like, that's worth more than the stats on the item in a lot of the case, because now you get to item 3, right? And that is part of the calculation that does matter. I'm a Collector apologist, and I'm going to, you know, just keep doing that because the item is actually good.
Yeah, and you're also an RFC hater.
I am an
So
RFC hater.
This is like your nightmare right now.
But
for,
even if
for
not,
Neil's build.
yeah.
He's got the I will get in range for the last hit build.
Yeah, which is fine. And especially if your team is bursty, which, like, hey, it's Hecarim Viktor, getting 1 auto at all means you got excited.
Yeah.
And, like, in cases where you've got a burst comp, I like RFC because it performs a function you couldn't have done otherwise. But if you're primary DPS, I think you're not allowed to throw that away. But in this case, he's not primary DPS. I think the build can fit.
We really got to pay attention
Yes.
to the setup, though, because we got big poke coming through from the Jayce and the Corki, but Dig has position. The question is, how well can they step up to 100 Thieves when 100 Thieves tries to enter River? They've cleared all their vision without getting poked, which is a really good sign, but I don't think 100 Thieves wants to give themselves soul point. We're going to try and enter.
140 gold lead, 2-item Jinx. Dragon coming alive right now. Ward control belongs to Dignitas. FakeGod
gonna burst.
playing the flank,
They got
and
it.
yeah, 100 Thieves gonna go for mid-tier 2 as a trade. Soul point given. Baron seems very unlikely. In fact, they are pathing through the ward, so they know even mid lane is not the attack. I really feel like you probably could have, like, sold and gone for mid-tier 2 and take the positioning lead, put your wards down in the brush leading up the lane, because who's gonna stop you? They're all 4 in River, but 100 Thieves kill a mid lane wave and just give it up.
Yeah, there is a little fear, though. Like, if they push up, maybe Hecarim can sneak in behind them, and if they lose a team fight at 21 minutes, that's Baron, and now they're really in trouble. So I understand the caution if they think they're going to have better setup on the next Drake, but it does really put them on a clock now.
Yeah.
Not getting the gold from the interior turret, and also not getting the Drake.
I just wonder, you know, at what point are you gonna play the game if you're unwilling to... Like, you have the wave, you have first dibs on wards, you can poke them on the way in, and you're unwilling to fight on your terms. Just,
Yeah.
It feels weird to me that, like, okay, then when are you battling? Because you've given away more stats by dropping an Infernal Dragon. It doesn't get better from here, I don't think. If they think they have the scaling, okay. I'm not sure I agree, but, like, if that's the view, then yeah, okay, in 5 minutes it's better than it was last time. If that's your view, then okay, sure, I understand the logic. I'm just, I don't know. I am nervous for 100 Thieves' decision making.
Absolutely. I think Abbedagge wants Ludens. I think that's a really big spike for them. They definitely don't have huge items on FBI. I don't think he's going to get to Infinity Edge by the time of the soul fight either. That's a pretty early soul for Dig. It's a close one. This is a very close game.
And as the wave is cleared on the top side, it is Viktor trying to push it in. Now careful, because close on Abbedagge. Chucks in the brush. Okay, no one's waiting there. No Hecarim, no Tahm Kench waiting for me, and just means Corki can walk up and claim that farm. Needs to get himself all the way to Ludens. Shouldn't be far away. It's under 1,000 gold from those components to have finished Ludens, I believe, and you know, pretty much standard laning average is 400 gold per minute. So if you ever are curious, by the way, if you want to, like, do a mental heuristic when watching games or even playing your own, between dragons, expect to earn about 2,000 gold. That's, like, roughly like a solid average. If you're catching more waves than normal, it's higher than that, obviously. If you're really set behind, right? If just like you're getting mauled and you get scraps, obviously it's lower, but like a baseline, hey, by the way, 400 gold per minute, 2,000 gold between dragons. That's just expectation.
Cool.
For the 3 carries, basically.
So that means FBI will not have Infinity Edge. He's got 2.5 minutes and he's only sitting on 800 gold.
Unless they funnel him.
Yeah, which I don't think is going to happen. But I wonder... I really don't know what's happening next in this game. I'm going to be completely honest with you. River is like looking for a fight, but they're just really not on the same page.
Yep, burn everything to knock the wave down. A couple autos still get to come through. That's a decent snipe. That'll keep a FakeGod down below half HP, but the team is unwilling to... Like, they see Viktor on top wave. They've got everyone there, and they're like, half HP turret's good enough for us. They lose dirt for it. 100 Thieves refuse to do anything except clear waves and lose more of the map. Ssumday, who got gigantically ahead, is now running away from the bot side. Didn't even get the wave into the turret. His team had mid control, and he walks away from bot lane tier 1. And 100 Thieves just keep doing nothing.
Doesn't seem like they have responded well to their defeat yesterday against Cloud9. But a lot hinges on the last 10, 15 minutes of this game. If they end up winning this, walk away at 2-1, fix those things in the break. But if they lose this one to Dignitas, move to 5 and 4, it's going to be very different conversations for 100 Thieves in between these weeks. And we got about a minute and a half, which is already when Dignitas is starting to jockey for position here in the mid lane. That's a good
damage. Yeah, nice knockup. Well, just going to land good damage here, but it's a minute 20 for Dragon, so recalls can pretty much always come in time. FBI's ulti is going to be a really tight cooldown between now and that Dragon spawn. It'll be close. I think it'll be a little bit later, but not by a lot.
15 seconds late, but that's generally okay unless Dignitas is starting it on spawn. Both teams really want mid control right now.
Yep, important to walk away from that hook. Doesn't land it here. Good shock flash. Thankfully blew out his shields and not as bad as it could have been, but yeah, Biofrost still really needs that recall. We'll finally do it somewhere a bit safer in the back. And we're going to see everyone hit that one as well. Again, the alarm should go off. If you could find a way to make your computer play a loud sound that says, recall, 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 when you see a 1 minute timer, that's what you got to do. Get yourself there. BFs were picked up. Control is an inventory. Luden's Tempest is done. Jatt, you called it out. An important spike. Abbedagge has it. He's got package as well. This is the strongest they're going to be. 2.5 item Corki. Viktor pit stops for Azonias. He is not full damage. He won't be as bursty as a different build could have been. It's a defensive option, so can you push through that? 100 Thieves hoping this is the power spike they need to fight for Dragon number 4. Hook on a Biofrost. That's a good start. Early stopwatch. FakeGod could be around. Is this the fight? Burns the flash. River doesn't get in.
They step in well. I mean, getting that flash onto Biofrost and then getting first move into River, that's what they want. They can now poke with Corki and even poke with Jayce through mid lane if Dig tries to step up. It's very difficult for Dig to get in here.
Corki's so safe with package. You are unstoppable during that cast, so you'll immune a nugget from Biofrost. You will immune anything. You'll Hecarim Fear, Hecarim E, all that will get wiped away.
Blue is zoned out. Blue is zoned off in mid. So 100 Thieves wants to start this quick.
Here we go. 7k health on the Dragon. Package to zone them, and now it's time to burn.
But they're not even hitting it.
You've got 5 seconds, and
They needed to be hitting it before that package goes off. They've lost their advantage. Blue has moved around. Now it's straight up eye contact. Now it's about how much poke they can land. Abbedagge only has 2 missiles left, and River's got flank.
Okay, well, there's the jump back from Abbedagge. They'll take the fight instead. They're going to be a bit of decent damage. They're going to dive in. They're going to find that first kill, but how about the rest? Biofrost runs back, stays alive. They wait out, closes ulti. They're going to find the knockup. Kill number 1, kill number 2. You got a Dragon, but look out for Blue because it's kill number 3. And we're going to keep going. Ssumday and FBI on the run. 100 Thieves get nothing done but a single Dragon, but it's time for the rest of the map because what's better than a Dragon is a Baron. What is a Thief to Dignitas as they will take even more of the map?
Dignitas did eventually get the wraparound. Abbedagge basically got soloed out by River, and as you say, this very well should be Baron.
Well done. The fact that Blue got around, they waited patiently, and they knew what the outs were, right? Do not fight until he's here. Do not fight until he's here. And you know what? Screw it. Let him take Dragon. I like the play to say screw it. Let him get Dragon. Their Dragon means nothing. We take the fight. That's better. 3 kills is the map for us. So I love the play from Dignitas, but this is so slow from 100 Thieves.
Exactly. 2 things. Dignitas doesn't want to get outpoked, and then they also want to be able to get flanked, because if they try and go straight ahead, they're probably going to lose the fight. That's why River has that minion cover to be able to get into the brush, and they don't actually see him until after the Valkyrie is used. So, oh, surprise, there's a Hecarim right behind the team, and it's the moment huhi goes in as well. So as a team, that's going to create a lot of confusion. They're going forward while their main damage source gets picked off. It means they're completely surrounded, and at that point, they just have to turn tail and run.
It was well played by River. After he got that pick, he kept identifying, okay, what's the fight look like, what's going on. Okay, they're stuck on the Zhao. And they're not going to turn back, so I will stay out of range. I'm not going to make sure, doesn't dive in. Hecarim played the back half of that fight really well. Good job to him. Found, I wouldn't say solo kill. It was good by FakeGod to get him to half in the first place. Well done to the both of them. But yeah, just that Corki was entirely useless.
It has not been a good day for Abbedagge.
No.
Let us say that. But it's still salvageable. 2,000 gold. They got another 2 minutes of this Baron power play to try and stop the bleeding. And then it's running it back for another Dragon fight. It's about how much map control can Dig take with this Baron to make the next Dragon uncontestable, is what Dignitas' goal is. They're not trying to win the game off this Baron. They're just trying to get that outer turret. They want to crack this mid turret. If they're really fortunate, they'll go for the inner mid turret as well, but that's actually not necessary. I think right now is actually an okay Baron, but they can go for more.
2,700 gold, looks like he's going to crest 3K. They will grab it. 100 Thieves still busy clearing the bot lane wave just now. Corki finished that one off. You could see the residue from his bomb a second ago. Red Bull Baron power play, 3,200 gold. I want to see when they hit the recall. Usually I like to do it at the very tail end. You know, you get as much done with the buff and then spend your, extra 2K that you got from all your towers and then, show up on the map for the rest of the play. There's going to be a 1-minute desync between the end of this Baron buff and Dragon, so that'll time up well, right? Get the maximum, get your waves pushed in, take your quick recall, spend, and then you're just ready to position with a bigger lead than last time.
Yeah, and the disadvantage that FakeGod had to Ssumday's Jayce earlier on in the game, while there is still a 50 CS difference, it's only 1.5k. So the Graves can still have impact. The game is much more about Neo's Jinx at this point. He's got a 2,200 gold lead on FBI's Aphelios. Most importantly, that's another pick.
They want it. Yep. Are they going to go for the ulti? Yes,
get
there's
him.
no way out. Goodbye. Abbedagge falls yet again. TP to join in. FakeGod flashes. Get to do the same. Ulti for a bit of damage. This is going to be the base in shambles. We have seen Ssumday kill minion waves time and again, and congratulations. You have 314 CS. It's the visage of Froggen back in my mind. He gets minions and nothing else, and the lead has just gone away and away and away, and 100 Thieves just watch themselves die. Dignitas looking for their 4th win of the split, and FakeGod steps up, gets slowed, has to be careful, spit back out. And 100 Thieves once again recall to watch their base die in front of their eyes.
Yeah, that was the last of the Baron as well, so it's going to be about a reset for this Infernal Soul, and the nightmare game for Abbedagge just continues. The solo kill at the start, getting picked out now twice by just kind of meandering through the jungle. So Dignitas will actually not have a huge Summoner spell advantage for this upcoming Dragon, but they very well do have the position. It's going to be very, very difficult for 100 Thieves to stop this one.
Cool to see tanks carry. Cool to see how much River and Biofrost have done. I don't want to sell blue short. I think everyone else has pitched in a bit as well, to be clear, but it has just been the team fight engagement. It has just been those two time and again, making so much happen. 7-0-2 and 1-1-7. I mean, this is just immaculate from those two players doing everything for the team.
They should burn this. Aphelios is really late to the fight.
There's no way you package and kill yourself.
They got to worry about the package. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, this has got to be there. It's got to be theirs. There's Dragon Soul. 100 Thieves, will you choose to fight? They go in after Soul. Huhi might just die. There's the fear, the jump into the back line. No kills just yet. There's one. Here comes two. And Abbedagge refuses to use his skills. Finally goes in for a Neo, but a stopwatch is well timed. Immunes the entire burn, and Abbedagge's on the run. Sidesteps to Zap. Blue Dragon spots him. Ssumday finally goes in for a play. Finally gets his 3rd kill. His 4th. It's a double in this fight, but can't get much more. 2 dead for Dignitas. 3 dead for 100 Thieves, but a Dragon Soul means a push towards the base.
Dragon Soul, no Baron, but super minions. We have Abbedagge and Closer trying to stop this. I don't know if Dig can actually go for the win, but they can probably get multiple inhibs.
I think bot lane's got to be a formality here. Yeah. You outnumber them, and you have a soul. This has got to be yours every single time. River is a little bit low, but as long as they sidestep the rockets, he's hitting the minion wave to try to thin that out, so they can't go for the nexus, but he's not getting any champion damage done. Dignitas will play it back. You know the respawns are coming. You can never go for nexus. Aphelios up in 5 seconds. But again, Dignitas get more and more and more. 7,000 gold lead. Dragon Soul. This has got to be theirs.
Man, what is it about this game? Dignitas is like kind of dominating, right? They're 9 kills up, they're 7,000 gold up, they have Infernal Soul, but it still feels really hard. Like, a thing could go wrong almost at any moment. Like, Neo no longer has stopwatch. If he gets picked out, maybe Blue gets cut out of position. I can still see it turning, but this fight, very far in their favor. After the Infernal Soul goes down, I don't understand disengage from huhi. They're straight up 5v5, no poke beforehand, and in a choke point if the damage wants to follow up. They get obliterated for trying to follow up on that hook. Then they just kind of fly in after the fact, and we got another fight in mid. He's got flank.
There's the dive. There's a fear, a knockback on a Ssumday. A flashless Jayce will die. And it's time for the 5v4 to keep it going. A hook forward, but Empty gonna buy a lot of time though. Health bars go right back up. FBI zoned out by Blue, and it's time to start knocking down everybody. Closer gonna be next up, and it's just the rest of it all gonna drop a nice chomp. Let him get the kill. Honestly, Bio deserves another one. It's gonna be FakeGod going unstoppable instead. A huge performance at Dignitas jungle. A huge performance at Dignitas support. This has got to be the Nexus. FBI is alone against the world. Gets a little bit of damage done, but you have to believe the Super Minion Wave is going to be enough. He will attempt the heroics, but be careful because they're going to be shot to pieces. And Ace comes through, and Dignitas once again takes down the reigning LCS champions. 4-5 to end Super Week with 9 games to go. Dignitas tie for 4th.
Dignitas being 3-0 against 100 Thieves in 2022 was not on my LCS bingo card a couple of months ago, but that is where we are at. 1-0 obviously in the Spring Split. A very disappointing, perplexing loss for 100 Thieves, but possibly a massive momentum shifter for Dignitas after this Super Week. They were on pace to have a 5-game losing streak, which would be the biggest in the LCS. Getting this clutch win against 100 Thieves, moving themselves to 4-5, only 1 game back of 100 Thieves now in the standings, has got to be a big relief for them coming into the halfway point.
Yeah, gotta correct myself. Tie for 4th would be 5-4. That is where actually 100 Thieves are in tie for 3rd because they were the 3rd place team. So there's actually this kind of break at that point now, 7-2 and then down from there. But you are basically on the cusp of playoff position. Dignitas, I mean, the story had been for years, right? Wow, a good early season, and then something happens, and the sky is falling. Sometimes it was roster changes, sometimes it was internal drama, who knows? But to come back and win this says, no, we can right the ship. It's not that Dignitas descent, right? We're turning it back up. We're gonna keep climbing here. And I mean, it was good to see River have such a commanding game. It was good to see Biofrost just completely pop off. Like those were big moments that I want to see more from those players.
Really big Tahm Kench performance. River had like one of the weirdest games, right?
Yeah.
He ended up getting that double buff off of the weirdness that happened in top lane and then really snowballed that for the rest of the game. And like, honestly, Blue just popping Abbedagge at the start of the game set them up for so much success. A lot of stuff happened in that game, and Dig, they're going to be happy.
Dig will be happy to end the week and to end Super Week on a win. Dignitas QNTMPAY finished Super Week strong, which means we'll be joining their support Biofrost on stage with LeTigress for our Verizon postgame interview.
Thank you, Phreak. Got Biofrost here, a Dignitas victory to end the day. First question I want to ask you is, what did you put in your breakfast this morning? Why is your TK so good?
I think I just got lucky, I guess.
Nah, you and River were making a lot of great initiations during those fights. I think it's a little more than luck.
Yeah, it went pretty well for us. I mean, TK is a really strong pick right now. So when they picked that draft, I was like, okay, this is a really good pick for us. Luckily, we did not go 0-3 this week. I'm really happy that we managed to get a win.
I know that you did speak in some of the previously taped content about how impactful that would be to go 0-3. So having this victory is one thing. It's another to have a victory again against 100 Thieves. What are your thoughts on that?
I think every team can beat any team right now. It's kind of like a circle of suck, I guess. But with best of ones and it being very volatile, you can encounter like any strategies. Like last week, we saw like Smite top, right? Other teams have like various strategies with like C9 playing very interesting things as well. So everyone has their own thing, right?
Yeah, everyone has their own thing. Dignitas with the multiple victories against 100 Thieves, though. I do want to know, what did it feel like playing them today compared to when you 2-0'd them in lock-in? Because it was an interesting game from the viewer perspective.
Yeah, I think this game I guess they just didn't perform. I mean, they're a really strong team. Sometimes you just have like a bad draft philosophy and it goes wrong.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, for Dignitas in general, clearly a lot of energy emanating from the team off of that win. We already mentioned what it does going into the week, but how does that kind of affect your perspective when it comes to practice going into the second half of the regular season?
Yeah, the season is like exceptionally long, right? But now we're halfway through, so we're nearing the end. It's important for us to kind of regain what we had before. We kind of went on a downtrend recently, right? Even this week, like we're still 1-2, so it's not a positive record. We're kind of trying to find our footing again and play like what we're good at. So yeah, it's a process, but I'm confident that we'll make the right moves.
Well, looking forward to what you all bust out in the next week. Thank you, Biofrost, for the
Thank
interview.
you.
That does end our Super Week. Can you imagine we made it to this point? Let's send things over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, the Tigers. I was worried we weren't going to make it to the end of the week, but we did it. made it through 15 games of League of Legends, and
Let's go.
Dignitas will hoist the final victory. And again, over 100 Thieves. You heard LeTigress say it in the interview. They're 3-0 over the defending champions in Spring. When you include lock-in. Can we play them 97 more times?
God.
Outside, so it's 100 L. Oh, man.
I love the Dig Twitter account. They're hilarious. Props to them at the.
I'm just a fan of banter.
Yes.
Banter in general.
Same.
Very random aside now, again, as you've been on the team side of things. Is that generally an active discussion of like, what is our team's tone going to be, like socially? You know, we've seen evil geniuses kind of rally around Live Evil, for example. Like, is that something that you build together?
So I think it's, I think even back in 2016, we, sometimes as a team in an org, you almost want to embrace the memes because it built, like, it makes your team stronger, right? Like I think in 2016, we had this meme called the Wolf Pack. Like we were a team, we would do everything together. Even when we went on stage, we would all pick like the wolf icon facing the direction of the opponent.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and it's really cool because like when the Live Evil thing started up, I don't think it was the team who started it. But then every time people are scrimming, like in post lobby, it's just like hashtag Live Evil. If the scrim game ended early, it's like hashtag Live Evil.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of like perpetuated the community. So it's really cool when things like that happen.
Absolutely, gotta love it. And yes, Dignitas has been stepping up their game, not just on social media, but here on the LCS stage as well. While I think it should be recognized, as Biofrost said, it wasn't a positive week for them from a scoreline perspective of the 1 and 2. They do end on a high note, Emily.
Yeah, so I think the big thing for Dignitas here is, again, Blue having this kill to kind of start it off, having pressure in mid in the Viktor Corki matchup, was actually massive for Dignitas early. There were a lot of other plays where River was able to get pressure off of this, where later on we're going to see Biofrost pop off on Tahm Kench. I do want to point out, though, that, like, again, we were talking about, okay, where does Dignitas go from here? This is the first time I've seen them play around pushing pressure from Blue up front, and it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this one is
great.
hilarious. Yes, so like, I first thought he was trying to do it to set up the Jinx rocket. It's like, nah, I'm gonna kill him myself.
I'm gonna yoink that.
This one's for me. And even gets the flash, ridiculous. So like, this one was great. Being able to see him both of them come into the bush because of the ward right behind them. So like, great eye. And of course, Dignitas collapsing completely. And just talking about the full setup, right? The 2 kills that he was able to get mid, Blue in particular, who had just the lane kingdom. Both times, stacking waves, puts Abbedagge in a really bad position where he's either giving up 2 minion waves to base there on those timings, or he essentially risks his life for the cookie, right? Like, so it's kind of crazy to be able to see this game and have Blue just perform so massively. River as well, teamfight after teamfight. Great game overall from Dignitas.
Yeah, ups and downs for this squad, though, right? At times, looking like they can challenge the absolute best, and then at others, we kind of waffle on exactly, you know, where this team is ultimately going to fall in the standings. I want to loop back around, though, to Biofrost, because it's another player that you've had some experience working alongside. His return to the LCS, we've gotten to speak to him directly about it to get a sense of like needing to take that year off to reflect and work on himself to come back. But from your perspective, what's that like to see a player who at one point under your tutelage in your organization steps away from the game and is able to return and able to make statement games like he has multiple times throughout this split? Yeah,
so I mean, I've known him his entire career. It's always funny what Biofrost was on TSM versus what he's on CLG and now Dignitas. I think back on TSM, we had Hanser, Bjergsen, and Double Lift who were really loud voices, right? And he never was, and we had like an exercise. We tried to get him to be more of a jerk and be more assertive, where we asked him to say one negative thing about a player, and he would always be like, oh, I think you're not, pushing your lead as much, but it's kind of my fault, I should help you out. And that's just kind of the type of person he was back then. But it's really cool, because then when I talked to like Weldon when he was working on CLG, and even now on Dig, when you look at this Dig roster, you see a lot of players who are a little soft-spoken, and I've heard that he's taken like the more leadership role, which is, at least for me as a friend, is kind of cool to see. It's like, I'm really proud, because he's gone from where he was to where he is now. I know this last year he spent the entire year coaching players. Like even now, I think sometimes he goes home and he has a couple of coaching sessions for like Diamond and like Masters players. So I think, yeah, I think when as players, if you do things like this, it helps build like your leadership and helps you see the game from a more like outside perspective.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, what a
that's
cool
really cool.
trajectory. I kind of want some coaching now.
I know.
I think I got to get back to
Terrible.
Diamond to be deserving of the coaching is what it sounds like. So maybe we could duo up later.
There we go.
Okay. That you didn't sound very excited about duoing
see it.
with me. Okay. Well, okay, Raz. Let's check out the player of the games, both from today as well as our leaderboard across the split. Today it was Hans Sama, it was Luger, Summit, Lost, and River who picked it up across our 5 games. You surprised at one of those, Emily?
Oh no, I was gonna say it was like 80 carries, except and then one.
Oh
top
right,
winner.
because we've been
I
making
feel
a whole big deal about the junglers getting all the
say,
love.
so now it's.
So this is
Summit
the
moves up there actually.
Yeah, this is top
Yeah.
5 on the split. So it's Ssumday, Berserker, Summit, River, and Revenge. Yeah, so note.
Revenge has 2. He's tied with a bunch of people.
He's tied with 10 other players. So plenty of people. I don't know how he got randomly selected onto the list, but good on him. What's interesting there for me is number 1 that there are 2 Cloud9 players on that list, and so that essentially indicates that in winning games for Cloud9, it's one of those 2 guys who we're largely looking at as being the main reason or the primary reason for a victory, not that the squad is supporting them from behind. But there actually is, back to your point, Emily, there was a pretty good spread of roles within that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think maybe we can kill the jungler bias that Mark was trying to start on a different desk. Shout out to Berserker and Summit though, and how much they can create for C9 on this team, because I think they're both just phenomenal players that we've been able to see create leads in lane for Summit and then in team fights for Berserker.
And one thing I would say is, even though they're not up there, I would also credit Blabber and Fudge a lot, because it's not easy to integrate players onto a squad, right? And you saw Fudge play a lot of different champions, even though he's new to the role, and Blabber is still just as effective as he was before. So I think a lot of credit goes to them too, even though Summit and Berserker are kind of getting the highlight moments.
Exactly. I mean, even in the case of Fudge, a lot of the picks are in support of those players. When they ended up getting Pog, it's because of the team fully backing them with the strategies that they have. So it's great to be able to see that. And if we're just talking about the diversity in roles, it's because of the diversity in a lot of the teams here and how they see the game.
Yeah.
Some teams recognize they have a strong-ass top laner and they go and build up their top laner. And it feels like if Summit's going to keep doing this, guess where we're going?
I'll tell you where we're going.
Where?
We're going to the Mascot Player of the Week.
All right, let's do it.
It comes from the only team with a perfect record here in Super Week. That's Cloud9, and it is Summit who's gonna pick it up. In the top lane there, an absolute monster of a player. Parth, it seems so often when we bring an import into the league, one, especially with as much hype as Summit, seasons go one of 2 different ways, right? Either they live up to and surpass that hype, or it goes, atrociously, for lack of a better word. In his case, he seems to be delivering on every front.
Yeah, I mean, he's insane. Even when people saw him in Korea, I think he always had like the laning stats to back it up. But I think he had a different role in the teams that he was on. So it's kind of cool to see him come on and showcase like how good mechanically he can be. And now it's just up to how the team kind of adapts around him moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like he's feeling more comfortable. The picks are now surrounding him a little bit more. And even in weak side matchups, he is just getting solo kills throughout this entire week. So it's incredible, and it gives them a direction to look forward to, even off of the Fudge interview. Like, it's fun to just press tab and see that there's a 30 CS deficit there for the enemy top laners. So he's just handing them wins off the early laning phase.
It's a great thing when a player can individually start warping the way you think about champion matchups because of how well they outperform the expectation. Let's pull up our Samsung SSD Fast 5 for the week to get a lay of the land across each of our 5 roles, a certain metric that we are tracking. Anything jump out to anybody as particularly out of place?
I mean, for both Golden Guardians member, Pride Stalker, and Lost topping the charts, I would always just kind of talk about how Golden Guardians are finding success through Lost recently, which is always a positive. We kind of made that expectation with Pride Stalker off of week 1 performances and his carry options, but it's really nice to be able to see Lost and, of course, his partner in crime, Ole, succeeding.
And I'm also looking at the AD carry because I do want to call out that despite losing today, I think EG and Danny both had a really strong week. And then additionally, Hansama, I feel like, is someone who like we kind of shortchange in talking about because the rest of TL sometimes, I feel like actually you could probably say this about any TL player.
That's the problem with TL.
Yeah, I know, they're too good, right? Across every role. But he had a phenomenal performance as well. And he's still been able to balance working with 2 different supports out of necessity. So credit to him and TL's coaching staff.
Yeah, and the last thing on the list was you saw huhi and Kaido's names up there. At least a little bit of positivity from the TSM side. Know that the players there are still strong, and as long as they can kind of figure some of the internal issues out, there's a lot of good pieces there.
A lot of good pieces. Got to figure out how they fit together. Congrats to those of you who earned some bonus points in the LCS Sleeper Fantasy app for having this week's top performers in your lineup. End of the day, we got to take a look at the standings. It was a big super week with 15 games. Means there was a lot of shuffling to be had in the standings. Cloud9, Team Liquid, they're atop the table at 7-2 apiece. We got a tight pack in 3rd and 6th place, though, at 5-4, as well as 4-5. Raz, what do you got for me?
Already looking towards IMT and CLG for being 3-2 for the last 5 games, like specifically
I like
CLG.
that call out.
Yeah, I mean, they've been having a rise up in their current performances. We've been talking about IMTs a little bit, but the fact that CLG being able to topple Evil Geniuses today and then continuing that trend is nice to see.
How does this align ultimately with where anyone thought we would be at the halfway point in the split?
Oh boy.
I can see, immediately in my head, I'm thinking, okay, Cloud9, Team Liquid, how's the weather down there?
Wow.
Well, CL,
it.
or rather, Golden Guardians has an opinion on where they land in the standings. I also do believe, I forget which org it was, somebody already responded to them as well.
Oh, no.
Yeah, saying that would change by the end of the split. Emily, you had a... It was Immortals!
Thank you, guys.
Tigers.
Thank you. Tigers got it.
Shout out to Golden Guardians because I love watching their games. Even in games that they lose, I always find something super interesting about their decision making and the way that they've responded to something in their previous game. I brought up their coaching staff and just generally how well these players do seem to coordinate and get along together. I think for people who are looking for like interesting analytical points, their games are like sneakily very fun.
Mm-hmm. And then coming into the split, thought Evil Geniuses would be a top 3 team. That's not happening.
They are not a top 3
That's
team.
not happening. I thought today would be like, okay, 3-0 week, congratulations. But CLG took them down. They'll probably look to the Zarya a little bit more critically. But, I mean, in terms of their pieces, they are getting better.
Right.
In terms of like Damien, JoJo, they are still proving people that they are great talent. It's just that they need to figure things out.
I think the inverse of that, right, is a lot of people would not have expected FlyQuest to be quite as high up in the standings as they are currently.
true,
So
too.
they've been a pleasant surprise
Yeah.
in that regard. We return next week with more LCS action. Back to Saturday, Sunday, though, so you can revive your Friday plans. We kick things off with Immortals, Progressive versus Evil Geniuses before TSM looks to put another win on the board up against a 5-4 FlyQuest. 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid, though, smack dab in the middle of the game. Before Emily's pick, Golden Guardians, goes up against Cloud9 in the 4th game of the day, and we close things out with Dignitas QNTMPAY versus CLG. I mean, I think there's a couple really tight matchups in there. What would you call out, though, as the one to watch from the 5 that I just listed?
So personally, I do want to watch the Golden Guardians one. I just want to see how they develop as a team, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You have Lost, who's coming off a year where he was criticized a lot, but now he's picking up player of the games and really popping off. So definitely someone I want to watch.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm just here for the action, so I'm looking
Yeah, well, you're
forward
paid to be here for the action. So.
Okay, well,
Show up to work next week.
Maybe I won't.
right.
Maybe I'm just gonna pick up the popcorn
Well, I'm not
box.
going to be the one that has that conversation with you afterwards, all right? That'll be for somebody else to pull you aside.
I'm here. Maybe I won't be there for the 100 Thieves versus
All right,
Team
how about
Liquid
I go ahead and get you home right now, and
Okay.
you promise to show
Go
up to
for it.
work next week, all right? I want to take a moment to invite all of you to join us in the Bud Light League Lounge,
promises.
where myself, LeTigress, will be joined by 100 Thieves, FBI, and Closer. You can catch that on twitch.tv/BudLight right after the highlights, or you can just wait here for the raid and hop on over. I also want to thank you, Parth, for joining us and providing insight throughout the day, for putting up with the 3 of us, because I know we're very, very difficult. But it has been an absolute pleasure.
No, it was awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's it for the LCS and our LCS Super Week. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next Saturday for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other, all right? Good night.
Not allowed to throw pens anymore.
A little bit more damage. Nice root comes out and immediately Kaido is destroyed. Bjergsen definitely gave the rest of TSM the Mad Catz controller on this one. He is player one and he ain't shy about it. He's got move speed. Can he go through the wall? Yes, he will. Luger just headshots Impact, taking him down. He's ready to keep this party train rolling. Double kill for the AD carry. CLG ain't done yet.
Should we wave players?
Team staff? Yeah, the players.
Players aren't waving back.
Who's gonna wave back?
They're not waving
No one's
back.
waving back.
They got stuff to do. Blabber's on the way. A horse is a horse, of course, and Blabber gets the kill. Zerker is already down, but Summit has joined the fight, so the fight ain't fair anymore. He's ready to go, and he will just eviscerate everyone on FlyQuest.
They found PoE, a solo kill for a Blaze Olive, a second in for Lost as well. And is that going to be enough? He lands the shot, a double kill in. Upwatch is huge. They need the reinforcement. He buys enough time to make it happen. This should be 2 more kills. This should be an absolute ace. Baits him in. Look at the carrot on the string. Turns out it's made of gold. The Bud Light ace, the Baron and Golden Guardians are back. Time Biofrost senses it. Triple knockup, rocket to land. FBI is low and gets shut down. Biofrost can do no wrong. 3 kills to be claimed. Whatever you're paying him, it's not enough. Ssumday finally goes in for a play, finally gets his 3rd kill, his 4th. It's a double in this fight, but can't get much more. 2 different Dignitas, 3 dead for 100 Thieves, but a Dragon Soul means a push towards the base.